Welcome to the Lessons From Your Hairstylist podcast, where we uncover and leverage your unique beauty and personal style. I'm your host, Sarah Cruz, a beauty industry educator and hairstylist with 30 years experience. This show is dedicated to providing you with insights and practical advice for living a happier, healthier, and more fulfilled life. Experience that special stylist-client bond right here as we dive into conversations with experts in beauty and wellness. Here, you'll gain valuable tips on personal style and self-care to empower your journey. Join me to unlock the secrets to living beautifully well while elevating your lifestyle, mind, body, and spirit. Your appointment is now, so have a seat and get ready for transformation. Well, hello and welcome to the Lessons From Your Hairstylist podcast. I'm your host and hairstylist friend, Sarah Cruz. Have you ever just wished you had a makeup artist around that you could bounce ideas off of, ask them, hey, does this look good? Is this in? Is this out? Am I doing this right? What kind of skincare should I be using? What's going on with this? What do you think about this? You know, just kind of like a makeup artist bestie. Well, that's what we have today. We have a makeup artist bestie on, and it's Mandy Davis. Mandy is my favorite makeup artist. We have been working together for quite some time. She is someone who I have known for probably a good decade. And when I built my on-site hair and makeup company for weddings and special events here in Nashville, she was someone that I was always bending her ear. She was giving me the best advice. And really, she's been there since the very beginning. And we've been working together for a long time. I've always trusted her. I've always looked to her for advice. And when I have questions, I always go to her. So I just knew that she would be the perfect podcast guest because she's been in the back of my mind for the entire time. I'm so glad she's finally here. Mandy, thank you so much for coming on Lessons From Your Hairstylist.
Thank you. You always flatter me so much.
Oh.
Like, if you ever need to pick me up, I just call Sarah.
That's what I'm here for. You always pick me up too, because I feel like I can ask you anything. You're going to be really real with me, but you're also very encouraging. You have clients that you work with on a one-on-one basis as well, who come to you for consultations, who look to your YouTube channel for advice and for information, and as well as working with the Black Tie and Blush team. You're on site doing makeup. So tell us a little bit about your story as to how you got into being a makeup artist, because it's so interesting.
Okay. Well, I've always been into makeup, always. My mom was a Merle Norman girl, and whenever Merle Norman had their little gift with purchase, I would beg her to go restock on something that she needed so that I could get the little miniatures and start my own little collection. And I had my own vanity in my room, and I just, it was just my thing. I've always loved it. And my friends knew that I was the one that always had the new stuff, because as long as I was able, and obviously as I've gotten older, it's easier to obtain things than it was when I was a teenager and in college. But if there was something new at the drugstore, I would be the first to get it. As long as I could afford it, I had it and I was trying it. And my friends knew that. And I actually have my master's in education. I was working at a school, and a friend of mine was getting married in Florida, and she did not want to go to the trouble of finding a makeup artist somewhere she didn't live. And she was like, why don't you're going to be there anyways. And I know you have all the stuff, right? You have all the products. So just bring it down and do my makeup for me. I'm like, I have never touched somebody else's face doing makeup. Like, I don't know that you really want to trust me doing this on your wedding day. And she's like, no, it's just me and my mom, just please. And so I was like, okay. So I did. And I left that day knowing that was it. This is what I want to do. I don't only want to do makeup, but I want to do bridal makeup. I want to be involved in the wedding aspect of things. So I went home. I found a school in Nashville that didn't do hair, because I cannot do hair despite my multiple attempts, and just focused on makeup. And my husband was mowing the lawn one day, and I went out there and stopped him and said, I found a school that just does makeup. I'm going to quit my job and go back to school and start a business. And his words were, okay. So that's what I did about 12 years ago now.
Well, I love that story. I've heard that story before. You've told me, and I've heard you tell other people, and it's one of my favorites. So I always like to have you tell other people. I think it's so interesting how we change careers sometimes as women, not to go off on a whole other thing, But I think it's good to give ourselves permission. Yes, you did go and have an education and something totally different. And then you decided to follow your passion and follow your dream of being a makeup artist. It's so good when you have a partner that supports you, but it's so good that you had the courage to go ahead and just pursue that, knowing that you had already done one thing, but you wanted to go into something else, not letting that hold you back. And that's one of the things that I find so inspiring about your story, was that you were able to pivot like that and you just trusted your instinct. So I love that part of your story, and I always love for you to share that. I know that you love skincare. You always say that that is your number one love. And I know, makeup has been something that you've been known for. You've got an incredible YouTube channel. We'll definitely put that information into the show notes so people can find you. They're going to want to follow you, listen to you, and learn from you. But can you talk about skincare, and specifically, what would something be that we all should have in our portfolio? What are some non-negotiables?
Okay. So yes, skincare. And I've always loved skincare, but probably the older I get, the more I appreciate a good skincare routine, the more I understand how essential it is. And it doesn't have to be elaborate to be effective. I am someone who loves an elaborate multi-step routine because it's like, that's my time, right? When my kids were little, they would know if mommy's doing her makeup or if mommy's doing her skincare, like, don't knock on the door, right? That's like my time. And as I've gotten older, it's gotten more elaborate, but it doesn't have to be. And I always tell everybody that makeup only looks as good as the skin you put it on. And if you have a budget, I would say 75% of it needs to go towards skincare, and then the 25% can go towards makeup. Because quite honestly, the better skin you have, the less makeup you need anyways, right? And you can get decent, makeup at the drugstore for, cheaper, and you can get very decent, affordable skincare, but I would still suggest putting the bulk of your money there. As far as non-negotiables, it's going to depend on like who you ask, but there is one non-negotiable that I tell every single person from the minute you're able to wash your face on your own: SPF. Like that. And that is, I am 44 and people ask me a lot, like, what do you have done? And I'm very open. I have Botox done and that's it. I've never had fillers. I've never had any other thing done to my face. But my mom always made sure I wore SPF. And it has stuck with me since I was old enough to do my own skincare, which was basically cleansing my face and putting on SPF, that I need that every single day. And it wasn't, I mean, I grew up in the 80s. Like that wasn't a thing. Nope. A thing was putting sun in your hair and slapping baby oil and, going, seeing whose roof you could, climb up to the easiest to get as much sun. And I was never the one that did that. I hung out with my friends, but I was under the shade. It's like there was something innately in me that knew, don't be out in the sun. And I haven't ever since. I don't dislike the sun, but it is not good for the skin in prolonged exposure. So SPF, non-negotiable and I honestly recommend it 365 days a year, whether it's raining or cold. And the reason is because if I were to tell somebody, oh, you only need it if it's like sunny outside, well, then they're going to get out of the habit of doing it and they're not going to put it on when it's sunny outside. If you do it every single day, then it becomes a part of your routine. And it's not going to hurt you if you have it on when it's, raining outside. But that way you never forget it when you actually need it.
Well, your skin is definitely a testament to the fact that you have taken immaculate care of it over the years. You have definitely been putting that SPF on every day of your life. And I know about the 80s. Believe me, my skin tells this story. So I have a whole different palette to work with than you do. And I know that that's something that people notice about you so much. Your skin is absolutely beautiful, which is why you can be such an authority on what it is that you talk about, which is skincare and makeup. And so SPF, I knew you were going to say that was the first thing, because I know you and I know how you feel about SPF. After SPF, what is the next step that everybody should have in their portfolio?
So again, it really depends on like the age, right? The results that you're wanting, the problems that you're dealing with. But as a whole, everyone needs a really good cleanser. If you wear makeup or SPF, you really need to get into double cleansing at night, which a lot of people I talk to don't do that. They're like, yeah, I wash my face, but They don't double cleanse, which is basically, you see the cleansing balms and the cleansing oils and those kind of cleansing steps. And it is removing the dirt and the makeup and the SPF. And then you go in and use the cleanser to actually cleanse your skin. The cleanser shouldn't be for removing things. It should be for cleansing your skin. And so when you have SPF and makeup on, double cleansing makes a world of difference, especially if you deal with breakouts, if you feel like you got a lot of clogged pores, if you feel like you just never feel clean, then incorporating double cleansing at night is going to be a game changer. So,
Wow, that's so interesting. That is something I didn't know as well. I cleanse my face, of course, every
yeah.
night. But are you saying get some type of a makeup remover first
Okay,
and
so it
then
doesn't
use
even have to be a balm or an oil. Like you see the micellar waters, like Bioderma, and I think Garnier makes one, and that's meant to remove your makeup. It's not a face wash. I see people use it and they kind of put it all over their face with a big cotton pad. They're like, okay, my face is washed. No, they are meant to be rinsed off, cleansed off your skin, but it removes all of the dirt, SPF, and makeup. So even if I'm not wearing makeup, I'm always wearing SPF, so I'll double cleanse every single night, no matter what.
Okay, so a balm and then a cleanser?
Just like a water-based cleanser, gel cleanser, it doesn't matter, but some kind of makeup remover, whether it be micellar water, cleansing balm, or cleansing oil, and then going in with just an actual face cleanser.
Perfect. That's so good to know. And
Yeah.
that is part of what I think will be so valuable about this episode is people just going back to learning the basics, what
Yeah.
they can do to improve the overall appearance of their skin, especially as we get older,
Mhm.
so that people feel like they do have a better canvas to put their makeup on top of. And
Well,
a
that's
lot of
another
people,
thing. If you don't double cleanse and you're spending a lot of money on serums and creams and all this kind of stuff, it's not penetrating as far as you want it to because you still have not 100% cleansed skin, right? So it's kind of like a moot point until you really get good at cleansing your skin. All the rest is kind of like a waste, if that makes sense.
yeah, for sure. And I think that again, that might be something that you probably take that for granted, just knowing that, thinking that's a really basic thing. But for me, I'm a hair girl, I'm not a makeup girl. So I mean, I just learned something in that very very basic step that you're talking about. And so it's good to know that those are really important basics. So a remover, a cleanser, and an SPF, would you say?
Those are the basics. And then as you get older, antioxidants are huge. Everybody says you must include a vitamin C serum in your routine. I'm not one that thinks that. I think any and all antioxidants are going to be good for skin. So not everyone can tolerate vitamin C's. There's lots of different types and derivatives. But if you don't like a vitamin C serum, it doesn't like your skin, there's still so many other antioxidants out there that you can use to help fight the like aggressors in the I'm just walking outside, right?
Right.
Just the dirt and the pollution and environmental aggressors that really eat at our skin every day. Antioxidants are going to help fight that. And then obviously a retinol of some kind. And there's a lot of people that are going to say, oh, I can't use a retinol. There's 3 types of retinol, and I could go on about this forever, but I'll make it real short and sweet. There's the retinol OL that you can get like over the counter. And then there's the retinaldehyde, so AL, and that's one conversion closer to being like the retinoic acid. So it takes less time when you apply that to see results on your skin. And then there is the prescription, like tretinoin, which is you can only get through your dermatologist or an online provider. That's personally what I use, but I love a retinaldehyde, and a lot of people that can't tolerate retinols because they can be a little aggressive on your skin, love a retinaldehyde. And they're becoming very, very easy to get. Like a few years ago, maybe 1 or 2 brands had them, and now you can find them everywhere. So if you're starting out, I personally would suggest starting out with a retinaldehyde, even though it acts quicker than a retinol. That's kind of the quick and short version. So double cleanse, SPF, the moisturizer, the cleanser, the moisturizers, that kind of stuff, you really don't need to spend a ton of money on. You can get very good, affordable first cleansing steps, regular cleanser, moisturizers, and then really I would put the money towards the serums. because those are kind of like your powerhouse ingredients. And you don't really have to, if you're doing like tretinoin, you don't have to spend a lot of money on that, especially if you get a prescription, you have insurance. Some people pay like $10 for a 3-month supply,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and there's plenty of affordable skincare brands that have retinaldehyde. So it's kind of a rabbit hole, but those are,
Yeah. I could tell it could be.
yeah.
You could just get really creative and go
Yeah.
crazy and get very specific probably and
Mhm.
very prescriptive. And I imagine you probably do that. Say for like a mom of your girls, you've got girls, young women on up into maybe like say 20. What could somebody like that start with?
Cleanser and SPF. That's all my
Cleanser,
girls do.
cleanser,
They're both.
SPF, any sort of moisturizer?
Yep, and a lot of times, depending on what SPF they're using, they won't even use a moisturizer. They will at night, but, like, in the mornings, they don't like a lot to feel a lot on their skin, so if their SPF is kind of hydrating enough, they just cleanse their skin and put an SPF on.
Okay,
Both
perfect.
teenagers, then honestly, I wouldn't suggest they do anything else until they're, mid-20s. I do think a lot of people in this day and age of social media are starting things too soon. Our
Mm.
skin does a really good job of protecting itself, and the younger we are, the quicker it regenerates. I mean, that's just science, right? So you don't need all the retinols when you're 20. I mean, there's like girls that are 22 out there on prescription tretinoin for anti-aging. Now, you can be on prescription tretinoin for acne when you're 12. That's different, okay? Because it first came out for acne. But it's just, you don't need a 20-step skincare routine that young. It's kind of wasted money in my opinion. Just
Okay.
protect your skin from the sun, make sure it's good and clean, hydrate it if you need to, and you're good.
That's good. That's good to have those really practical tips because I do think that with TikTok, Instagram, all of the different apps that are out there now, there's so much opportunity for companies to suck you in to
Mhm.
products that you may not need. And
Yep.
then there's a lot of confusion around what do I really need? And for my age, what's really necessary? What can I let go? It could add up. It can be very expensive. So
Well, then they start wondering why they're breaking out, right? Oh, I don't know, maybe because I'm using 20 different things that shouldn't be layered together because I just saw it on TikTok and I had FOMO and I wanted to buy it. It's
yeah,
that kind of thing.
yes.
So it's kind of scary, honestly, but
It is. Well, and that's another reason why I think doing a content like this, where you know you're getting the right information from somebody who's a professional who's saying, hey, a lot of this stuff is not necessary. You can go pretty basic and take care of your skin and you're still going to be okay. So that's actually very encouraging. So once you're like into your 20s, what about 30s and 40s? What's important for
I
30s
mean,
and
then I
40s?
would start really, the antioxidants and the retinols, and those are the two main things. I
Okay.
mean, you got your exfoliation, your glycolic acid, and your, lactic acid, and my main thing is they all can be used. Just don't all start them at once. And that really goes with any skincare product because you see all this stuff on social media and you're like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then they all come to you and you're like slapping it all on at once. And they either shouldn't be mixed together or your skin freaks out and you're like, well, I don't know what caused it because I started 5 things at one time. Right. So it's like you can't even then you start having to take everything out, putting one thing in at a time. Just start doing that. And I think you're going to realize that you don't need everything that people say you need, right? And everybody's skin is different. There are some people who love a glycolic acid and hate a retinol, and that's fine. Some people will never use vitamin C, but they'll use some kind of other antioxidant. There's not one size fits all for skincare
Yeah.
ever. And that's not what social media wants you to believe. And whenever I do a skincare video, I always preface it with this is what works for me. I'm sharing what works for me. I am not telling you it's going to work for you because I don't know.
Yeah.
Talk to your esthetician. Let them see your skin, touch your skin, and
Yeah.
don't start out with everything at once.
Right. This is good because this is giving us a bit of just a blanket overview, but I know you've got a ton of content on your YouTube and you also explain the whys behind things and you give detail behind the products that you're using. So yes, you're using the products that work well for you, but it's also very valuable for people of different ages and skin types to be able to go to your content and learn a lot.
That way, once there's like a jumping off point of like, oh, okay, good. Now I know I can start here. And then I can start to branch out and research and pepper some other things in, because it can get a little overwhelming thinking I need all these products. And you see other people. You want to be like these other people. You might see her over here, this one over here, and you're like, oh, they're using that. They look good. So that's what I love about this. This is just like, no, let's keep it practical. Let's not get crazy. It doesn't have to be complicated.
But then I have like a 20-step skincare routine. So I get it. If you want it to be and you have gotten to that point where you're educated yourself enough on it and you know your skin, then go for it. But just you got to know your skin first.
Well, and that's it. And I think part of the term makeup artist is when you're an artist, you create and you play and you go into different avenues and try different things and you put things together and you mix them all up and you come out with a result and then you tweak it here and you tweak it there. I think people can be as interested as they want to be and go as deep as they want to be with something. But I know that you work with a lot of women, and I've even sent people over to you that have said, hey, look, is there somebody that can help me just know what I need to use on my face? Somebody that can help me figure out what do I need to do with my makeup, especially as they start to age and their skin changes, features change. It's really helpful for somebody to sit down with them and be like, okay, here's some recommendations. You can put your blinders on a little bit, start here, and then you can go off in a million different directions. But right now, let's get some kind of a plan. And I love that. So I'm imagining then for skincare, probably into the 50s, 60s, it's the retinol stuff again. Is anything change as you get older?
Honestly, that's when you probably, and even 40s, like start looking into in-office treatments. Because there's going to come a time where there's not going to be any topicals that's going to like reverse something. There's only so much brightening certain antioxidants and acids can do for your skin. And if you were a sun worshiper as you were younger, you might just have to get a laser, to be able to get the sunspots away for good. And I think that's when you're in your 40s and above is when you start looking into those kind of in-office microneedling and lasers and treatments like that.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. So skincare is definitely a must-have for all of us. It doesn't have to be complicated. Let's get into some of the fun stuff, which is makeup. Makeup is what you do so well. And look at yours. I mean, flawless. Always is, whether you go a little bit more natural or you go a little more drama, your makeup is always friggin' flawless. And I know people say that to you all the time. So let's talk about it.
Okay.
Can you tell us right now what is actually trending in makeup?
Yeah. So I will definitely touch on some of these, but I also have to preface it that I am not a trend girl when it comes to makeup. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I specialize in bridal, because when you do bridal, you really want it to not be trendy. You want it to stand the test of time. You want them to be able to open that, photography book 25 years down the road and not question what they were thinking with their makeup look. That's the timeless makeup look. And that honestly like filters over into my thoughts as well. And also because it's like it's makeup, right? It's not that big of a deal. It washes off if you don't like something. If someone tells you you should do something and you don't want to do that, then don't do it. It's makeup. But as far as like trends go, just a lot of them have overflowed from last year. One of them that I can think of that I feel like really started last year was like SPF makeup. A lot of brands started making sure their makeup included SPF. And there's some brands like CL, for example, that all of their makeup products have SPF in them. That's what they started as, an SPF makeup company. Do I think, having an SPF 30 in your blush is going to protect you when you don't have any other SPF on? No. Does it hurt? No. And a lot of people don't want SPF in their foundation or anything like that. And I get it. But, there's never too much, in my opinion. So I feel like that's a trend. Very simple eye makeup is definitely been on the rise for the last couple of years. Back in, everybody likes to say the 2016 makeup, but basically back then up to probably around COVID, it was like multi-step eyeshadow looks, right? Like you took a big palette and you spent 35 minutes perfecting that eye look. And you used as many colors as you could, and you want it as graphic as you could. And that's just, it's flown out the window. It's very simple. It's very one and done. That's a huge thing now, like one and done shadow, whether it's a shadow in a palette or it's a shadow bought separately. Use one shadow on your eye. Some
Or a
mascara.
blush.
Or blush. I use blush
Or
on
a bronzer. I do
bronzer
that.
I use all the time. That, I
Yeah.
mean, very, very often will I just stick a bronzer in the crease and smudge some eyeliner and mascara, and then I'm good to go. It's really my go-to look.
Yeah.
I just think less is more is been on the rise too. As far as like skin, I feel like there's always matte skin will be in, or glassy skin will be in, or the new thing is like cloud skin. I think just skin is what's in right now, and I don't foresee that going away as far as letting people see it more than they used to. 2010 to 2020, I feel like it was all about full coverage, right? And there's still a time for that, right? If you're getting married or you're getting photographs or something like that. But day to day, I mean, like a tinted moisturizer and some blush and you're, one and done eyeshadow and you're good to go. It's like simplicity to me is been on the rise for a while, and I don't foresee it going anywhere, which
Well,
I
that's
love.
good because that's a
Yeah.
lot easier.
Yeah.
Take the pressure off.
Yes.
I mean, who's got time for 45 minutes of putting makeup on in the morning? Not this girl. No, it does. I can't spend that much time. What are some things that you should definitely not do with your makeup?
There's not a single thing I can think to say.
Okay. I love that.
Because I don't like someone telling me I shouldn't do something with my makeup. So I'm not going to tell someone else they shouldn't. Because makeup it's creative, it's an outlet. It is sometimes armor for some people. It's some people won't leave the house without it because they're not comfortable without it. So who am I to tell someone you don't need that foundation? Don't wear that foundation. Full coverage is out. You need to wear, only a tinted moisturizer when they don't love their skin and they don't feel comfortable that way. So I'm not going to tell anybody, don't do this, don't do that, because as long as you feel your best, that's going to make you act more confident, seem more confident. And that's the whole goal of makeup, no matter what it is. It's just confidence and, feeling good about yourself.
There's so much on social media, and I know we continue to talk about social media, and everybody is constantly talking about social media, but the moment you show up, somebody's got something to say.
Mhm.
And it's always some professional. Could be a hairstylist out there, could be another makeup artist that's like, you shouldn't wear your blush that low on your cheeks.
Yeah.
You shouldn't wear that much bronzer. You shouldn't put that eyeliner in your waterline.
Yeah. And
there's this is bad. And so people are just bombarded with this, and they're scared to do anything. They're like, what do I do?
Instead of going on there and saying, oh my goodness, that blush color is so pretty. If you like raised it up a little bit on your cheeks, it would make them pop even more. It's such a nicer way than saying you shouldn't put your blush there. And guess what? If they raise it on their cheeks and it makes them pop more and they don't like it, go back to wearing it low. Who am I? It's not my face.
Yeah.
Who am I to say?
I know. Well, for people that are trying to try to enhance their look, people are interested in what can I do to create something that looks good on me. And so I think, people are trying to learn, but I think you're right. There is no one size fits all. You shouldn't do this. You should do that, because what's good for one person is not good for maybe somebody else. Right. So then how would somebody learn what works for them?
So there's a couple of things that I would suggest. First, everybody nowadays has access to a phone or a computer, right? So do get on YouTube, but don't just search like, how should I wear my makeup in my 40s, right? Search that, but then really watch multiple videos. And I'm not saying you have to watch all of them, but watch them until like the first couple minutes. Do you like the makeup that person has on? Is that something you want to achieve for yourself? Or is that not something you would be comfortable doing? If it's not something you'd be comfortable doing, then move on to somebody that you would, then focus on what their tips and tricks are, right? And then start trying it. But to just go and Google something and take the first video you see as gospel when it comes to how you should do your makeup is not the way to do it. because everybody has different taste. There's people who watch, my videos that don't like how I do make my makeup, and that's fine. There's so many people out there that you can watch, and you just have to find one that you're like, oh, that look resonates with either what I think I look like now or what I want. And there's so many different looks out there that you have plenty to choose from, but that would be the first step. And then the next step, depending on where you live, is to start searching up on Instagram or, TikTok or whatever by location, and find a makeup artist in your area that you really like the look of her makeup or his makeup, and then the look of their client's makeup. And then reach out and see if they do lessons. See if they do one-on-one consultations. Sometimes they might not, and you just keep looking. But if they do, then I would suggest, making an appointment with them to go and find out what's the best placement, what are the best products, what are the best shades. And that's going to be ultimately your best bet. But I know not everybody has access to that.
They don't all have access to it, but I do think that maybe not everybody would think that you could do that.
Right.
Because I've heard people say, I wish I could just sit down one-on-one with a makeup artist, like without going to the MAC counter, without going to the mall. Like, no, you want somebody who's going to focus on you, who's got some real education behind them that can truly advise you for you in particular. And I don't know if people really realize that makeup artists do that kind of thing. You do that. You do that.
Not all of them, but yes, a lot of them do. In fact, that's become, 50% of my business is one-on-one consults. And I love it because at the core of who I am a teacher, and that is my passion. My second passion is beauty, makeup and skincare. So if I can put those two together, then I don't even feel like I'm working. And that's what like a one-on-one consult is for me. I do suggest if you have another option, not to go to a counter. And the only reason I say that is because, well, two. A, they are there. Their job is to sell you something. Okay. Whether it really suits you or not. And B, a lot of them have only been trained in their brand. Okay. So say you go to a Bobbi Brown counter. Well, they're only going to show you Bobbi Brown products. And there's a lot of makeup brands that I absolutely adore, but there is not one that I like every single thing that they make. So to be able to have lots of different brands to showcase, in a professional kit versus somebody who works at a counter and is only going to try you to sell the one is going to be more beneficial in the long run.
That's so smart because I feel the same way about hair products. We use so many different hair products. When we're going out and doing a client, there's different brands in my kit. In any makeup artist's kit, there's going to be a million different brands. We have people ask us, what brands do the makeup artists use? I want to say, what brands don't they use? Right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned about you were a teacher first and foremost. And I think that's why we're such kindred spirits, because I feel that too. And I'm just going to tell the story really quickly that is actually how Mandy and I met, because I was she says she's not a hair girl. See, I'm not a makeup girl. And, but I tried to be. And she was kind of trying to dip her toe into the hair thing, because here in Nashville, it's like sometimes you feel that if you could do both, you could get booked more. So it's funny because we were both kind of doing that, but in the opposite way. And I was teaching a hair class, and she had come to the hair class, and afterwards she came up and she said, my husband's never going to be able to believe that I put this style together like this. And she said, I really don't like hair, but she said, I felt like I needed to at least learn. I said, that is so funny. I said, because I'm out here doing makeup and I don't really want to do makeup and I dread it every time, but I feel like I kind of have to. And we just kind of laughed because it was sort of like when the chocolate met the peanut butter in the Reese's cup and how it was like the perfect marriage. I felt like that was me and Mandy, because it was like, okay, now we're going to team up. This is perfect.
It was kind of like a light bulb moment, I feel like, because we were both like, oh, we don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow. So we'll both be happier and still be able to work.
Yes. And that's how you became such an integral part of the beginnings of Black Tie and Blush, because we had started actually working together. That's how we met. And then, as we took on larger groups, we would have to get other people, but you helped me so much in the beginning of that. But that's kind of our story, Mandy and mine's story with the wedding business. And because bridal is your passion, and it was mine as well, I do think we should go into the bridal thing just a little bit.
Okay.
One thing that people ask me a lot is, do you get a lot of bridezillas? And
get
I
that
want to
question
say,
every
no,
wedding. Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Do you?
I do not. I have never had one bridezilla. The
Right.
problems, if the issues that arise are either the moms or the bridesmaids. Those are the zillas in the wedding industry, at least
Yep.
in my experience.
Yes, same. And I know that a lot of times people are shopping around hair and makeup. Many times the hair and makeup artists are going to be the very last vendor that people book, because for some reason we're like the stepchild of
Yeah.
all of the wedding vendors. And I always am trying to tell people that it's so important to have professional hair and makeup. I am always preaching it. What do you say to that?
I say that I always ask my brides, okay, what were the first two vendors that you booked? And it has never deviated from the venue and the photographer. Those are always the first two vendors that brides book. And I'm like, okay, why wasn't hair and makeup your third? And they're like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was. I mean, I knew I was going to be able to find someone, which is the first mistake, right? Because
Not
that should never
true.
be assumed. But they're like, I knew I was going to be able to find someone. And I'm like, okay, you hired a photographer because you know that the only thing that's going to last past your wedding date is the photos. Guess what's in the photos? Your face and your hair. And it's like, I don't know what to do because I can't have this conversation until a person's in my chair, right? So they've already booked with me. We're past that point, but I don't know what to do to get the word out to all the brides who do wait 4 months before their wedding or 2 months before their wedding. I feel like that is happening so much. As the years go by, every year it's like a smaller window. And then they're surprised that you're booked because there was someone who thought, oh, I'm a year out from my wedding. I probably should get hair and makeup blocked out, and
Yes.
then the people who wait don't get anybody, or they get somebody who probably shouldn't be doing hair and makeup,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And
So,
that's what happens.
yeah.
That's what happens so many times. And then a lot of times you have people contacting you saying, my hair and makeup artist ditched me. They called out, they couldn't do it, or they're so dissatisfied with the service, with the entire process, the handling of their account up until the time that they get to the wedding day, where stuff is very important. The pre stuff is just as important as the day of. And if you don't have somebody who's focused on the importance of your look on your wedding day well before your wedding day gets here, it seems like common sense, but it doesn't seem to be. And I agree. I don't know how you get that word out.
I think, yeah, that's the main question, right? But I think also a lot of times people are just, because they wait to book hair and makeup, their budget's gone. And so they go and they hire someone that's charging way less than something maybe we would charge, because they think, the client being they, makeup shouldn't be that expensive. Hair shouldn't be that. I mean, you're just showing up, you're doing it, and then you go home. That's it. And I'm like, if they only knew why we charge what we charge and all the back end cost and the back end time and preparation that goes into every single wedding. But they don't see that. They don't realize that. So then they go hire someone that does a $50 face and they wonder why they don't like it. I had a bride one time 6 or 7 years ago who booked me to do bridal makeup. And then when she got there, I was doing like a trial and she was already married. And I'm like, did y'all like go to the courthouse? Like, are y'all having, what's going on? She's like, oh no, we got married. We had a wedding like 2 months ago. And I cried my makeup off because I hated it so much. And so my husband re-rented a tux and we rebooked our photographer, and you're doing my makeup and we're going to do a whole new photo session and act like it was our wedding because she hated her makeup so much.
Oh my God.
And she waited to book.
So bottom line, you guys, if you're out there about to get married in the next year or so, please book your hair and makeup vendors as one of your first vendors so you will not be sorry with your look. You have heard it from Mandy, hearing it from me. We're trying to put the word out there.
Yes.
Tell your friends. Tell your friends.
Scream it from the hilltop.
Speaking of brides, what are the bridal looks that people are most requesting?
Okay, so this is very cyclical. It goes in kind of 1 to 2 to 3 year patterns, meaning I will get the exact same girl off Pinterest every single time. I know you do too for like hair looks. And it'll be that way for 2 years. Or, after Meghan Markle got married, it was like 18 months of I want her look. It depends on what's happening on social media and in, celebrity wise. But one thing that's becoming more and more evident is not wanting foundation, like not wanting much coverage at all. And that is, and I think that started with Meghan Markle because, she didn't wear foundation. Her makeup artist only used concealer on her. And
Well,
so
her makeup was good, but I don't know what happened with the hair. It was that one little piece. I couldn't stop looking at it. That drove me crazy. I was like, just get it, just get it back.
Totally get
Anyway,
that.
I'm still traumatized from the hair, but we're talking about the makeup, so let's go.
It is, a lot of my brides don't wear makeup on a daily basis. And they're like, I don't like the feel of foundation. Now, I will say, I've had people that are like that and they're worried, but they want a full face. They want full glam. And I've never had someone say that they feel the makeup on their skin after I do it. So, I think that's another thing to look for in a makeup artist. Definitely get your preview appointment done, see how it feels because you want to be comfortable in it. But it's just a lot of my brides want their skin to show.
I'm not mad at that.
No,
I'm
I
not
think
mad
that's
at that.
no, that and pink everything, pink eyes, pink cheeks, like, yes, pink lips. As pink is
Love
pink is
pink.
in.
We love pink at Black Tie and Flash.
Yes. So those are like the two main things that I feel like right now I'm getting the most, requests for.
I like that. And we have a lot of people say, I kind of want a natural glam. What does natural glam mean to you? Define it.
This is the thing. If you hire someone as your makeup artist, please make sure they ask you lots of questions about what your everyday makeup looks like, what your makeup looks like when you go out. Make sure that the inspiration pictures you send them aren't someone with black hair when you have bleach blonde hair, because it's going to look different. They could do the exact same look. It's not going to look the same. I mean, make sure you don't send hair inspiration when you have no intention of getting extensions, right? Like,
Yeah.
so, because I know that happens to you all the time.
Oh, all the
They show
time.
you pictures and they have like 50 pounds of extensions on their hair, and they're like, oh no, I don't want extensions. Well, then you're not going to get this look, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just, you need lots and lots and lots of communication with your artist to make sure you're on the same page. I send out something before the preview appointment that has an example of 6 different smoky eyes. Because if I hear I want a smoky eye and they don't tell me, okay, I want number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, because the smoky eye is a technique. It is not a one and done. Like, it is not the same across the board. So what do you mean when you say a smoky eye? Right? Because
That's so good to know, because you know how I love a smoky eye.
yeah.
And I like, do a smoky eye. And you're like, well, which
But
one?
your definition of a smoky eye might be something completely different from what somebody else thinks a smoky eye is. Same with natural glams. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Unless I know what you're used to wearing every day, I don't know what your baseline for natural is, right?
I feel like they're talking about natural tones, maybe.
No, a lot of them are talking about like natural look. Like, I want my skin to shine through.
That's what I would think.
But then if you don't ask for their baseline and see that they wear a full face of makeup every single day, and then they tell you Kim Kardashian is natural to them.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Then you've got a whole nother like thing. So it totally depends on what they are used to wearing every day as to what their definition is.
Yeah.
Of natural or smoky or glam, for that matter.
Because it's like, just because all the colors are bronze and taupe and pink doesn't mean it's natural.
Right.
I guess. I'm not the makeup artist, but I do know that much. I've learned that from you. I've learned that from you. And then, then you've got the moms, you've got the moms of the bride and the groom, and they're always, I mean, they're not always, but a lot of them are back here going, oh, I know you hate working on older people, or the grandmothers will say, oh, I know you don't like to work on older people. It's hard to make us look good. I know you love it. I know
Uh,
you love a grandma
it's my
more than
favorite.
anything, more than
I mean,
anything.
it's my favorite. The moms and the grandmothers are my favorite.
Yeah. And why is that for you?
Because they swear that you can't make them look good, and I love proving them wrong. They get in the chair and they immediately apologize for something. Immediately. What, I'm so sorry I don't have any brows. Oh, I'm so sorry I've got so many age spots, or I haven't, can you tell I haven't slept? My bags are so bad, or I'm sorry I don't have an upper lip. I mean, it's always like, I'm sorry for something you have no control over. Like,
Yeah.
you can't, unless you go get fillers, you can't control how big your lips are. It's like, it's okay. Like, you, we're not like, I don't want to make everybody look like the same anyways. So I'm not worried about that. I just want to make you look the best version of you, and nobody believes that I can do it. And I just revel in them taking the mirror and being like, oh,
Oh, I
and I'm
love the
so happy for
reveal.
it. I love the reveal. And
I
I do
love
have
a
to say,
reveal.
all the time they're like, they sit in my chair and they're like, can you take 20 years off of me? And I'm like, no, not, like, I'm not a plastic surgeon. I can't take 20 years off me. Like, that's just not what makeup does, right? But can I make you feel confident and pretty? Yes. Like, and that's why I love it so much, because they don't wear makeup. They don't take time for themselves.
Yeah.
They've spent the past year worrying about their daughter or their granddaughter and making the wedding perfect. They haven't thought about themselves once.
Yeah.
So just being able to take that like 45 minutes in a chair to just sit and relax and be pampered is just the most fun for me.
I agree. I love that too. And I love the moms and the grandmothers really the best. I mean,
Mhm.
we love our brides, but we love the moms and the grandmothers, and that is always fun. That reveal is always the best
Mhm.
part, when they look in the mirror and they just kind of can't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as makeup for the moms, the grandmothers, mature skin for a wedding day, they're scared sometimes because they haven't been to a makeup artist before. Nobody's ever done their makeup, or maybe it's been a long time ago, or maybe they've had a bad experience. When
Mhm.
you're a younger person and you have clearer skin, or you have no lines or wrinkles, and everything is just tight and easier to work on, then you could have someone who has had a bad experience in the past, or they're just really afraid that you're going to accentuate those parts that they don't want accentuated.
Right.
You hear a lot of times I'm going like, don't make me look like a clown, which
Yes.
I never would
All
I
the time.
ever. But how often do you see that the moms and the grandmothers are a little apprehensive about getting their makeup done?
100%. And the reason is because as they've gotten older, they spend less time on themselves, right? They don't find it's necessarily a priority. Like, the generation under them are kind of being molded to feel like, right, that beauty is a priority and you should take time for it. And they didn't grow up that way. They don't feel that way. They haven't spent much time on them. They've seen really bad looking older people get their makeup done if they haven't gotten it done. And they're not, as a whole, especially the grandmothers, adept to being on social media all day. And when you are younger and someone who is like the bride and the bridesmaids age, and they're constantly scrolling through TikTok, even if they don't wear a lot of makeup, they're not as scared, because they know it's going to be fine, because I'm just going to look like these people on social media, right? But
Yeah.
when you are a grandmother and you're not on social media, you have all of these like, what is she going to make me look like, right?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of doing my best to like calm them down. And it's just that, and that comes with practice. If you're a new makeup artist, don't let that scare you, because that just comes with lots of practice, and just, being able to feel the person out and realizing they're going to hate if I do anything more than this. Take a
Right.
little bit more time.
Yeah.
Make the blush application last 10-15 minutes. Talk them through it, like, make them feel like they're getting pampered, but to where the end result is going to be something they are comfortable with and makes them feel like $1,000,000.
That is so important. It's about the experience that they want to have, not the
Mhm.
experience that we want to give them all the
Exactly.
time. And that experience is the most important part of it, because it's the thing that they're living in that moment, what they're going to remember when they look back on that day of getting ready before the big moment.
Yeah.
how they feel about it. Does it feel good when they look back, or do they look back and they think, oh, I felt so out of place. I felt
Yep.
ridiculous. It didn't look, like myself, and that kind of thing. So I think having an artist who knows how to communicate, who's empathetic, who understands people
Yep.
and
And
can,
likes people. Can we just say that?
you do need to
Because there's
like,
a lot of artists out there that you wonder whether they like people.
yes, that is true. That's
You
true.
know? Like you can be an artist and you can be really creative, but that doesn't mean that you're good with people. And there's plenty of makeup artist positions where you don't really have to be good with people, right? Like you can go work with models all day long for shoots and editorials. And it's like they're basically like the employee too, right? So
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal. They didn't the models didn't hire you, the production company did.
Yeah.
That's easier. But when you are a part of someone's most important day to date in their life and you're not a people person and you say you're communicating, but really what you're doing is just telling them what they should want, not understanding what they do want, then it might be time to like find another avenue of artistry.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
I see it more often than not.
Yeah, you do need to be a specific type of a person, I think, to work in the wedding industry, because that is a very personal type of interaction you're having. And you're right. When you go on set, you're doing production, you're doing a show, that person is going to sit there and take whatever
Yep.
you give them,
Yep.
because there's a look, there's a tear sheet.
Yep.
This is what we're doing. This model has no choice. She's going to sit there and we're going to do this look. And then you don't really have to have any sort of people skills. You don't have to please the client. You just need to execute the look. And I think you're right. I think it is a little bit easier in that regard. So yes, people skills, very important when it comes to weddings. And speaking of people skills, I could talk to you all day because you're fun to talk to. You've got people skills. But I do want to get into my favorite part of the episode, our new segment called Cut It or Keep It.
Okay.
So Cut It or Keep It is basically a take on that decision that I make every day behind the salon chair as to whether we should cut the hair or keep it. Is it worth saving or does it just need to go? I'm going to give Mandy some topics and I'm going to let her weigh in on them. So the first one I'm going to ask Mandy is cut it or keep it, the term anti-aging.
I'm going to say cut it, knowing that it will never be cut because it's a marketing term and it's what grabs people. But for me, I prefer to say aging gracefully because it happens to all of us. We can't stop it. We can't go back. Literally cannot go back. So let's just do our best to age the best way possible and just consider the fact that we are able to age a privilege.
Ooh, that was good. That was a good soundbite right there. Okay, so cut it or keep it. AI consultations and virtual try-ons.
I just like started on AI. I'm like, am I even going to have a job in a couple years? Like,
listen, AI cannot apply that makeup. Yes.
Yeah. One day it might, who knows? Okay. Cut an actual consultation. Okay. An AI consultation. Keep the AI version of trying something on. When you're shopping for makeup, you know how they're like, try it on, and you put a picture of yourself and it puts the lipstick on you or the blush on you. Keep that because I've used that before. I think that's good. But as far as an actual consultation, no, get a person that can a person. Just get a person.
Get a person. We're talking about people today.
Yes.
People. I've tried those try-on things before. Probably it was a long time ago, but it was really weird. Or maybe I didn't pick out the right thing because I thought, ugh.
Well, and honestly, I've done that too, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting that color.
No, well, yeah.
Like, and it kind of validated the fact that I don't like anything but nude lips. Like when I go in and put like, a red lip or a dark pink or something, I'm like, yep, nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
Sticking my white lips.
Just re-verifying that I don't like that.
That's right. Thank you for confirming that for me. Yep.
Oh, cut it or keep it, DIY skincare and makeup products. So you see on TikTok, people are like putting stuff together in the kitchen all the time,
You know why they do that? So people will watch their videos. You cannot convince me that they actually do that outside of filming that video. You just can't. And no, because I could say, oh yeah, if you just want to like squish up an avocado and stick it on your face for an avocado mask, do I think it's going to do anything? No, but it's not going to hurt you. But if I said that, then you're going to be like, oh, well, then I can squeeze some lemon in it and then do it. And I'm like, yeah, no, we're not putting lemon on your face. Like, let's not do that. Let's not. And so there is no cutoff. So I'm just going to say cut it 100%.
Okay. Cut it. Cut that stuff.
Yep.
All right. Cut it or keep it. Synthetic ingredients in products.
100%. People are scared of synthetic when truly they should be more scared of natural and no preservatives. Natural in the source of not all natural things are harmful, but I mean, poison oak is natural. Do you want it in your skincare? No, it's like just because something says it's natural doesn't mean it's good. And a lot of the natural, no synthetic, don't have preservatives, which means it's going to grow mold. It's going to last a couple weeks. It's going to go bad before you know it. And then you're putting really bad stuff on your skin. So synthetic is actually very beneficial in my opinion. And I say keep it.
Oh, perfect. That's good to know. Yeah. Cut it or keep it. Drugstore brands.
Keep it. Keep it 100%. I mean, I feel like everybody should have access to makeup. No matter the price point. Unfortunately, a lot of drugstore brands are increasing their prices to where they may as well be sold in Sephora, but you can still get, I mean, Wet n Wild makes some really good products and, you know, they're under $10. So
you carry any Wet n Wild in your kit?
I don't, but I have used some, you know, personally myself.
Yeah. I wasn't going to be surprised if you said you had actually.
Yeah, no. I mean, I do have a couple of like lipsticks that are drugstore in my kit that I love. Yeah, no, everybody should have access. No, and you know, the more drugstore companies come out with better, more affordable things, the better, in my opinion.
Well, I love that we're ending that on such a practical note and that you're saying, you know, everyone should have access to skincare and makeup. And it doesn't have to send you to the poorhouse. You can save a little bit of money on that and you can still get quality products. That's very encouraging to know.
Yes.
And so I love just ending on that practical note. And speaking of practical and learning, people can find your YouTube channel where?
So my YouTube channel is Mandy Davis, MUA. A lot of people say moi, but no, it stands for makeup artist. And my Instagram handle is the same.
Perfect. Yes. Well, we will definitely be putting your information in the show notes because I know people are going to want to, now that they've listened to you here, they're going to just want more. And let me just say, Mandy's YouTube channel is incredible. I mean, look at her set behind her. She should be the one conducting this podcast. So she is a pro. I mean, she's a pro in so many different senses of the word, but you watch her videos, you're going to be learning a lot. And that's, again, what I love about what it is that you teach is you're teaching things that people can take and do themselves. It's not this complicated thing. It's not these 400 different steps. And you're saying, this works for me. Here's some other options. And you equip people on your channel to go out and do their own digging and research, but you give them the tools and the nuggets to go and work with. And I love that. I think it's such a quality channel. So for the listener, you're going to want to go check that out. Mandy, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. I feel like we could have talked for another 6 hours.
Hour. Yeah, at least.
But I so appreciate you coming on. This has been so much fun. I've wanted to have you on for a long time. So thank you for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Lessons from Your Hairstylist. I hope you found inspiration and actionable insights to embrace your unique beauty and elevate your life. Remember, it's all about taking small steps towards a happier, healthier you. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who might benefit from it. Together, let's continue unlocking the secrets to living beautifully fulfilled. Until our next appointment, keep your thoughts on your visions, your self-talk kind, and remember to keep your heart open so you don't miss any opportunities waiting for you out there. I'll see you on the next one.